The North Carolina sun, a warm, reassuring presence, beat down on Cedar Drive, painting the cul-de-sac in shades of verdant green and cheerful suburban pastels. A moving truck, considerably less jovial than its U-Haul counterparts, was being unloaded in front of a charming two-story house. Inside, the Torres family was attempting to navigate the chaos of boxes and new beginnings. "All right, team," Michael Torres, a pragmatic architect of 38, surveyed the half-empty living room with a hopeful glint in his eyes. "This is it, Cedar Drive, Dad's new job, Mom's less stressful commute, paradise, right?" He clapped his hands together, trying to inject some much-needed enthusiasm into the dusty air. Sophia Torres, 36, a nurse whose empathy was as vast as her exhaustion, offered a weary smile. "Less stressful commute, maybe," she mused, rubbing her temples, "but I'm sure the hospital here will find new ways to keep me busy. Still, it's better than the city. I just hope we can find some calm here." The constant demands of her previous hospital in a bustling metropolis had worn her thin, and she yearned for the quieter rhythm of Raleigh. Isabella Torres, 14, their daughter, was already perched on a stack of boxes, sketching furiously in her notebook. Her curiosity was a boundless well, and her artistic eye missed nothing. "It's definitely green," she observed, her pencil flying across the page. "And quiet, almost too quiet." She was still adjusting to the idea of a new school, new friends, a new everything. Liam Torres, 10, their son, clung to his worn teddy bear, his natural shyness amplified by the unfamiliar surroundings. He was observant, almost to a fault, taking in every detail with wide, slightly anxious eyes. "Mom, Dad," he whispered, pointing a small finger towards the house at the very end of the cul-de-sac. It was large, imposing, with thick, opaque blackout curtains drawn tight over every window, even in the middle of the day. "Who lives there?" Michael glanced at the house. "That's Dr. Marsh's place, Buddy, retired surgeon. I think she keeps to herself." He shrugged, dismissing it, in a cul-de-sac of meticulously manicured lawns and friendly waves. Dr. Evelyn Marsh's house stood out, an island of eerie isolation. As the days turned into weeks, Isabella and Liam slowly began to adjust to their new school. Isabella, with her easy charm and artistic talent, quickly found a niche. Liam, however, remained more reserved, his observations often escaping the notice of his busy parents. It was Dr. Marsh, or rather, the lack of her, that truly began to unsettle him. He rarely saw her leave her house, and when she did, usually to retrieve mail or tend to a small, enclosed garden, she moved with a peculiar stiffness, her face a mask of cold detachment. She never made eye contact, always looking down or straight ahead, as if avoiding the very essence of human connection. Liam, with his sensitive nature, felt a prickle of unease every time he saw her. One warm afternoon, Isabella was in the backyard, absorbed in sketching the intricate patterns of a spiderweb glistening with dew. A faint, cloying odor drifted over the fence from Dr. Marsh's property, an unpleasant smell that made her wrinkle her nose. It wasn't quite garbage, and it wasn't a dead animal, but something vaguely chemical and sickly sweet. What is that?" she muttered to herself, trying to shift her position to avoid the smell. Later that evening, at dinner, she brought it up. "Dad, the weirdest smell was coming from Dr. Marsh's yard today. It was like old meat mixed with cleaning supplies. Really gross." Michael, preoccupied with a new design brief, waved a hand dismissively. "Probably just some old garbage, sweetie, or maybe she's got a compost pile that's gone a bit ripe. Don't worry about it." But the next day, Liam, ever the quiet observer, made a discovery that would shatter their nascent suburban peace. He was playing near the overgrown bushes that marked the boundary between their yard and Dr. Marsh's, searching for a lost toy car. His fingers brushed against something hard, metallic, and cold. He pulled it out, his eyes widening. It was a knife, not a kitchen knife, but something far more sinister, a hunting knife, with a long, curved blade, and on the handle, unmistakable even to a child's eye, was a dark, dried stain. "Mom, Dad," Liam's voice was a small, frightened squeak. He ran into the house, clutching the knife as if it were a venomous snake. Sophia, who had just returned from a long shift, saw the knife, then the stain. Her professional instincts, honed over years of working in emergency rooms, immediately took over. She carefully took the knife from Liam, her fingers brushing the dark smudge. Her face paled. "Liam, honey, where did you find this?" Her voice was low, strained. "In the bushes, by Dr. Marsh's fence." He whimpered, pointing. Sophia examined the stain more closely under the kitchen light. The color, the texture, the way it had congealed, it wasn't rust. It wasn't paint. It was blood, and not just any blood. Her years of experience screamed at her, human blood. Michael, initially dismissive, saw the terror in Sophia's eyes. "What is it, honey? It's just a rusty old knife, right?" Sophia looked at him, her gaze intense, unwavering. "Michael, this isn't rust. This is blood, human blood." Her voice was a tight whisper, laced with a growing sense of dread. A suffocating silence descended upon the kitchen. Isabella, who had been listening from the doorway, felt a cold dread creep up her spine. Her weird smell suddenly took on a far more sinister meaning. "We have to call the police," Sophia declared, her voice firm despite the tremor in her hands. Wait, Michael interjected, his practical nature warring with the horrifying implications. "Are you sure? I mean, it's just a knife. What if it's nothing? What if we cause a huge scene and it turns out to be some kind of animal blood?" He hated confrontation, hated drawing attention. The idea of accusing their quiet, reclusive neighbor was daunting. "Michael, I've seen enough blood in my life to know the difference," Sophia retorted, her voice rising. "My instincts are screaming at me. Something is terribly wrong here." The family was plunged into a heated debate. Isabella, usually rebellious, was unusually quiet, her face pale. Liam clutched his teddy bear, tears welling in his eyes. Michael, though terrified, still hesitated. He thought of their new life, their fresh start, how easily it could be upended by a false accusation. "Let me just check her garbage," Michael finally said, a desperate attempt to find a logical, mundane explanation, "just to see. If there's nothing, then we forget about it. If there is, we call the police. No questions asked." Sophia, though deeply uneasy, reluctantly agreed. She knew Michael needed to convince himself. That night, under the cloak of darkness, Michael crept out of the house, his heart thudding against his ribs like a drum. The streetlights cast long, eerie shadows. He moved silently towards Dr. Marsh's property, a flashlight clutched in his sweaty palm. He reached her large, industrial-sized garbage bins, which were always meticulously placed at the curb on collection day. The lid was heavy, but he managed to pry it open. The stench that assaulted him was worse than anything Isabella had described, a potent, metallic, putrid odor that made him gag. He shone his flashlight inside. What he saw made the blood drain from his face. Amongst the regular household trash, neatly tied in numerous clear plastic bags, were what looked unmistakably like human tissue. Small, irregularly shaped pieces, some pale, some tinged with red, all contained within the transparent bags. A wave of nausea washed over him, bile rising in his throat. This wasn't garbage. This was unspeakable. He slammed the lid shut, the sound echoing loudly in the quiet night. His hands trembling violently, he stumbled back to his house, his mind reeling. The practical, logical architect was gone, replaced by a man consumed by primal fear. "Sophia," he gasped, bursting through the back door, his face ashen, his eyes wide with horror. "You were right. Oh my God, you were so right. Call them. Call Detective Sullivan. Now." His voice was choked, barely audible. Sophia, who had been pacing anxiously, immediately knew. Her face hardened, her anxiety replaced by a cold, righteous anger. Without another word, she grabbed her phone and dialed 911. Her voice now steady, imbued with grim resolve. Detective Mark Sullivan, a seasoned detective of 45, arrived within minutes, his gruff demeanor a thin veil over a deep well of thoroughness. He listened to the Taurus's horrifying account, his face unreadable. He took the knife, the details of Michael's discovery, and the pervasive, lingering smell from Dr. Marsh's property all in. "All right," Sullivan said, his voice a low rumble. "We're going to get a warrant. Stay inside, don't touch anything else." Within the hour, the quiet cul-de-sac of Cedar Drive was swarming with police cruisers. The flashing red and blue lights illuminated Dr. Marsh's eerie house, making its blackout curtains seem even more menacing. A search warrant was quickly obtained, and a team of officers, led by Detective Sullivan, raided the home. The interior of Dr. Marsh's house was as cold and sterile as a morgue. Downstairs, in a meticulously hidden basement room. They made the gruesome discovery. It was a fully equipped surgical room, complete with an operating table, gleaming instruments, and rows of glass jars. And inside those jars, preserved in formaldehyde, were human organs. Further investigation uncovered overwhelming evidence of cannibalism. Dr. Evelyn Marsh, the reclusive neighbor, was found in her study, calmly reading a medical journal. She offered no resistance, her expression as unreadable as ever. At the precinct, in a chillingly calm, almost academic tone, she confessed, a disgraced surgeon, her medical license revoked years ago for unethical practices. She had been luring homeless individuals to her home under the guise of offering free medical care. She spoke of her patients not as people, but as specimens, her voice devoid of remorse. Chillingly detached, she described her methods, her research, with a disturbing level of detail that made even the seasoned detectives feel a chill. The news ripped through Raleigh, a horrifying testament to the darkness that could lurk beneath a veneer of suburban normalcy. The Torres family, though safe, was shattered, the knowledge that they had lived next to a surgical theater of horrors, where unspeakable acts had taken place, left an indelible mark on their psyches. Every shadow in their house seemed to morph into something sinister. The faint hum of their own refrigerator reminded them of the grim contents of Dr. Marsh's. "We can't stay here, Michael," Sophia said, her voice hollow, a few days after the arrest. Her empathetic nature, so vital to her nursing profession, was now a source of torment. Replaying the images of what had happened next door. "Every time I look at that house, all I see is her. And what she did. I can't breathe in this house." Isabella, usually so vibrant, retreated into herself, her artistic endeavors replaced by long, silent stretches of staring into space. Liam, already shy, became even more withdrawn, his nightmares filled with cold eyes and the metallic smell of blood. The house on Cedar Drive, once a beacon of their new beginning, was now a monument to a living nightmare. Despite Dr. Marsh's arrest, the horror lingered, a palpable weight in the air. Within 2 months, the Torres family had put their house on the market, selling it quickly, though at a significant loss. They couldn't bear to live another day on Cedar Drive. Their new home was a rural farmhouse outside Charlotte, far from the manicured lawns and hidden horrors of the suburbs. They never spoke of Cedar Drive again. The memories too painful, too terrifying to recount. But for Isabella, the nightmares persisted, vivid and chilling, a constant reminder of the shadow that had fallen over their lives on Cedar Drive. And for Liam, the image of Dr. Marsh's cold, remorseless eyes would forever be etched in his memory, a silent testament to the darkness that could hide in plain sight. If you find the story interesting, please like and share this video and leave a comment with your opinion. Don't forget to subscribe to Sweet Revenge and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos.